Okay, hello and welcome to games-edu workshop number 2. I'm Bill O'Toole, and I will be handling the scene management and just a very simple game manager for this session. Okay, so if you have not caught up with the Game Workshop 1, I'll put it right here. Just go to this link here, and you can also go to the Facebook page, Games-edu Pit. There we go. Games-edu page. Cool. Give you guys a couple of seconds, so if you need to pause it and type that in the URL, there you go. Okay. Without further ado, we're just going to dive in here. So the current state of the game is as played. We have a little ship here. I made this little art guy, made him a tank instead of a ship. Doesn't matter though. And you can see this is the state of the game as it was at the end of Workshop 1. Okay, we can fire bullets and we can move back and forth and the aliens disappear. Cool. Alright. So, I'm going to cover a little bit of, well, we're going to cover much more GUI implementation so we can get a start menu and transition from start menu into this level 1 scene. So, going to go into scenes, create a new scene. We'll name it title menu. Open this up. Okay. Put this over here. Alright, so first we need to create a canvas, which you need to go down here, right click, UI, whoop, not Text Mesh Pro. Just delete that. Go UI, canvas. Alright, so whenever you create a canvas, you see you have this event system, okay? Without the event system, you will not have your GUI click events register in Unity. So if, let's say you create a prefab canvas and you we'll go into the prefabs and we'll and we'll name this main menu canvas, and we go over here and create a prefab of it. You'll notice whenever I click and drag this over, the event system is not created, okay? And if you are having trouble when you're clicking on your canvas and nothing's happening, most likely you're missing your event system. So you can go under UI and just click here and it will give you this event system. Okay? Alright. So, a main menu canvas. A canvas object in Unity is kind of like the parent. It's always going to hold all your UI elements. This is your heads-up display, aka heads-up display. When I use UI and heads-up display, they're interchangeable. Some people call it UI, some people call it heads-up display, but for today's lesson here, they're pretty much the same. Okay. So anytime you have, if you want a little panel like a menu that doesn't necessarily cover the entire screen, you're going to want to make a panel. Okay. Alright, let's zoom out here, and I'm going to over here. Okay, so here's my panel. Alright, we're going to name this panel main menu, and I'll keep this the kind of like the back end of what type of game object it is for clarity. You can clean it up or change it whatever you want, but it's always good to kind of keep the end of the game object there so there's a little more clarity. Because if you just kind of get rid of this, you might get confused on which is a canvas and which is a panel. So a canvas object can have many different panels. You can have multiple canvas objects on your in Unity, but it's good practice to have all your different heads-up displays and menus under one canvas. Okay, save that. All right. So as you can see here, I'm gonna give us a little more room here. So as you can see, currently my main menu canvas is covering the entire screen. So I'm just gonna play so you can see what it looks like. And okay, cool, covered the entire screen. So how do we make this look more like a traditional kind of game menu? We're just going to bring it in and move it to the center. Alright, and with this panel now, when we press play, now you can see my panel is smaller. This looks more like a traditional game menu that you see in your PC games. Okay, let's end that. So, with the main menu panel, you have this image that serves as the background of the menu. Okay, you'll notice it's a little transparent right now. You can faintly see lines behind it. You'll be able to see it on your computer as you work through this, but you probably can't see it on this video. So that is handled through here in the color and the alpha layer, and we're gonna make it solid. You can see how it turns solid to fade. Remember that with any image, you'll always get this color transparency, and including some of your materials and your sprites, you can make them transparent if you want. Like if you want to have a cloud effect or something. All right, let's exit that. Okay. Now I'm gonna go back and change this color from white to make it a little more appealing. I don't know, something to give it a bit of a contrast. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna give this a run real quick. Okay, cool. Looks, we can clearly see what our menu panel is here, and then our background is the solid black. Okay. Now, I'm gonna add a title. So I can go into UI, text, and this text parenting to the main panel, or to the main panel, not the main canvas. I'm gonna name this title text. Yep, go. And over here, name it Space Invaders. Cool. And I'm sure this looks familiar to everyone. This is the kind of universal symbol for center. And this is aligned in the middle. And I'm just going to click and drag this guy right up here. Alright, Space Invaders. There it is. Cool. You can also increase the font size here. Let's give it a little more. You can see as I click and drag, it'll snap to the sides of your parent. And let's click on that text again. Just going to drag it down since we're going to have plenty of room. There we go. Space Invaders. Nice and big for everyone to see. Okay. So, next, we're going to need a button on there, because it's pretty lame if our title menu is just a panel with the text of the game. Can't do anything. We're clicking around, can't do anything. Alright. Going to add a UI button. And I am going to name this Start. Okay, it's going to start our game. It's going to transition to level 1. Okay, so this button you'll notice that it has the text element child to it. Text element here, button text. Same components, same type of components, okay? But only the button text is child to the parent button. So whenever we move this around, the text follows suit, okay? Alright, so we got text button. Okay, remember I mentioned the event system, okay? This handles the Unity events that are happening. Events just like everyone learned in, I think it's fundamentals of object-oriented programming. Whenever you do I think it's, swing GUI, you get a on-click event handler. Here it is, just in Unity, button, on click, okay? So, what we do need is a script to run and transition to the next scene, okay? Let's get scripts here, okay, great. And this is where I'm going to create our game manager, okay? Now, this game manager is going to be a bit monolithic, but for our purposes here, it will serve to handle our scene chains, and we're also going to maybe later add a variable to hold our score. Okay, so notice that I created a script. It's called GameManager, and the little icon is a cog. Okay. Unity does this for you. It's still just a C# script. The only reason Unity makes this a cog is to help it stand out amongst all the other scripts, because the game manager is supposed to be very important. This icon here is purely aesthetic. There's no persistence with this unless we code it in. Okay? So let's open this up. Alright. So, we're gonna do a method called chain scene. So, we're gonna make a public void. We'll do change scene. Alright. So Unity is very nice and created a robust scene management system. So all we need to do in this public change scene method is scene manager. Okay, I typed in scene manager. It's not coming up right away. I'm going to click this little hint, and I'm going to click using Unity scene management. Pops up here, and now I can use it. Okay. Dot, and I'm going to go down to load scene, and it takes an index build, which I'm going to go over what an index is. If we click down, these are the various overload methods. You can also load scene by a scene name, a hard-coded string. You can do scene index with the load scene mode, which we're not going to cover. It's a little more advanced. And then scene name with the load scene mode. So we only have one scene. It's very simple. Mine, what is it? Level 1? Yeah, it's level 1. So I'm just going to hard code in here. Level 1. Cool. And we're going to get rid of this update and start for now. Cool. That's our game manager. Very, very simple, simplistic here. You could even have that in a scene controller if you really want, but for this purpose, we're just going to make it. Everything's going to go into this game manager as far as scene control. Alright, so on my button, start button, as you can see it there, to on click. Oh, first, actually, I need to make a prefab with my scene manager, with my game manager in it. Now you can, in here in this main menu canvas, just add game manager here. Okay. I would be a little more. I would have like a separation of concern here. Be component based, since we're in Unity. This is a component based system. I'm going to just remove it from here and create a prefab and call it my game manager. Go. And I'm going to reset these transform values. Doesn't matter, but I just like a good clean component, and add my game manager there. Okay, cool. So put it up here. All right. So on my button here, on click, I'm going to hit this little plus button right here. Okay, it's under the bullet script. Go down, on click, list is empty, click there, and it adds a runtime. Sorry. This is runtime only, editor and runtime, or you can set it so that the event that we're gonna place in here doesn't even run, but we want runtime only. And we're going to, oh, I selected it there. We're going to go into this game manager here, and we're going to click and drag into here. Okay. And when I do that, you saw the function was disabled before because there was no object of reference, but now there is. So we click on it, it comes down, and here's our script game manager. Okay. And underneath all these are there's a couple variables you can use. There's the broadcast messaging system that's built into Unity, which is another more advanced topic that we can cover maybe later. And send message, still dealing with messengers. Coroutines are more advanced, but what we really want to look at is change scene. That is the method that I wrote in our game manager. So let's go back to game manager. See, it's changed scene. So public void some method. I'm just doing this to show you that you can do anything as long as it's public. Okay. Debug.log called some method. Okay. Save that. Go back to my button. Wait for Unity to load. Okay. So remember I made that other new method. Some method, there it is. If we want, we can call that game manager, but we want to call change scene. Now back to game manager. If you want to call a function in the on-click event, it needs to be public. So this is just like in your object-oriented principles. If it's private, it's scoped to this class. It's going to stay inside this class, and we're not going to be able to call it. So we're going to go back to this button and go to scene change, game manager. Some method's gone because now it's private. Okay. Cool. We're going to go to game manager here, and I'm going to get rid of this method. Oh, so I like to be explicit with my calls and the accessors. So in .NET you can just not have anything in front of there, and then that's defaulted to private. Okay, so here's private. This is also private. Just remember that. Okay. All right. I am actually going to change this to confirm change scene. This is completely unnecessary, and you don't have to do this purely for demonstration purposes. I'm going to scene is changing. Okay. So on our button, I'll make this public. Unity's catching up, loading. Okay. Under button, so I had an on-click scene change here. I can add as many function calls as I like under this click event. So I'm actually going to call this GameManager again and do GameManager and confirm scene change. Okay? Cool. You can also, under in our GameManager, you can pass parameters through the GUI. So if we wanted to do copy scene change and then string scene name and then load the scene name. Okay, it's overloading. Under the button after it catches up. Okay, our scene change in our script, this took no parameters, it's hard coded, level 1. Okay, let's change it to GameManager scene change with parameter string type, and you get this little box right in here. We can type in level 1. Okay, so now this string that I just typed in is going to pass into that method. It's going to execute and change. Okay, cool. Let's go to the main menu, canvas, and test it out. Alright, whoa, now, I'm glad that happened. See how this is clearly not the correct scale? That is because of our anchors. First, I'm going to test my start button. Okay, see, as you can see, the that debug log printed to the console, and we changed scene. Okay, let's go back and fix our menu panel. Alright, so our menu panel was all out of scale. So what we want to do is go, first off, we want to go over to this panel, click on the panel, and there is the stretch anchor kind of presets right there, anchor presets. And you see there's different actions you can take. If you hold down shift, also set the pivot, and alt also set position. Commonly, most people hold shift, and you can see whenever you hit shift, a little dot pops up. Okay, that's the pivot. Alt thing, you get a different kind of menu option. You can see that. And then if you shift alt both, you get you get like the mix of both. So I'm going to click here, and it brought my anchors in right real close, tight here. So I can take these anchors, see if and drag them out to make them fit the screen parent canvas. So I guess. Alright, that looks pretty good. And you can see how it helps a bit. Still, it's not quite right. That's mainly because I didn't fix the child anchors. So, going to where those anchors at. Oh, I'm gonna move this back up here, and I'm gonna go up here and here, and just they snap to nice and easy. Okay. Okay. Now, whenever you squish, you can only fit so much on a on the canvas, but you could see how it cut off instead of it was overlapping and the buttons overlapping. That's because I didn't set the anchors to um, to kind of stick to the parent menu panel. But this is something you kind of gotta just play with and get your GUI looking real nice. You can set horizontal overflow to where you can set it to overflow. If we go over here, and so now it overflows. Or we're gonna wrap. It's usually better, and we can bring it down. I'm gonna take this little button down here and just move it down more, and move these down here. So if I have space for the text to wrap, it will wrap. Alright, there we go. Space Invaders keeps on wrapping till it's just crazy. Okay, so anchors, if you're trying to do a mobile game or cross-platform game, platforms have different size screens. Anchors will save you a lot of time and a lot of pain. If you're getting some odd behavior like I just demonstrated, check out your anchors and make sure they're okay. Alright, so I'm gonna just get right up here. Alright, so I'm going to do I'm going to save the scene first. Next, I'm going to add another panel, a options panel. Now, we're not going to go into options. Well, I'm not going to do how to configure your audio and stuff because that's like a whole nother workshop. But I'm going to show you how to handle multiple panels. Options, menu panel, and going to for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm going to make the options panel I'm just going to have it overlap a different way so you can see them kind of activating, deactivating, and how the layering works on canvas. So I'm going to fix this background again. I'm going to give the options panel a little more of a odd orange tint. Okay, cool. And so we know what this panel is. I'm going to title it. Okay, here's the options. Make it look good. Increase the size a bit. Okay, so up on these anchor presets, I'm going to just have it. I'm going to hold down Shift and Alt, and I'm going to have it suck to the top. Okay, and just for good practice, we're going to keep it conformed to this panel. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So here's our options, and in our options, you would have you'd have buttons maybe to go to your sound options, control options. Here we can go to UI button, and we'll say this button is the config controls we're not going to do, I'm not going to implement this for you guys, just for a demonstration. Config controls button, and I'm going to add another button, the back button, because we want to return back to our main menu after we're done, fiddling around with our options. All right, and we'll make, actually, I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna use the anchor presets again. Just have it suck to this bottom corner. Maybe bring it in a little bit more, and make it look clearly different. And gonna make it text back. Okay, cool. So, got this sucked to the corner here. Maybe I'll even bring it up and over a little bit so it looks a little more sleek and cool. Alright, that looks fine. Okay, so currently, when we run this, we have our options button with our fake vaporware config controls button and our back button that's not implemented. Okay, notice how this options is layered on top of the main menu panel. Okay, how the whole canvas system works. It works as like a layering system. You can configure those programmatically. I'm not going to go into that because we're keeping it very simple. But you'll notice if you click and drag options panel above, options panel is now the bottom, and main menu is on top. So you can see how the lower in order the panel item is, the lower it is on the stack layer of GUI interfaces. Okay, so I'm going to go back down here. I'm going to move it back down because I always like my main panel on top. So we don't want the options menu panel to display whenever we first start the game. That doesn't make sense, alright? We want it to, when we click on the options button that we're going to create here seen on the main panel, we want the options menu panel to display and show up, and we want the main menu panel to disappear, and then when we hit the back button, we want the options menu to disappear and the main menu to reappear. Okay, so first we need to start by deactivating the options menu panel up here. Deactivate it. Okay, so cool. So now whenever we start our game, our options menu panel isn't just popped up on top of our main menu. Alright, I'm going to stop that. And so now we need to create a button so this options menu panel appears. So we're going to go on this main panel, and we're going to UI, create another button. Okay, cool. It's right here. We're going to click and drag it down, and I'm going to name this button options button, and for clarity I'm going to name this start button. Go. And options. Cool, alright. So, just like we did with the game manager and the transitioning to another scene, I'm going to click and drag my main menu panel. Oh, first I need to add, on click, I need to add a, give it like, say, hey, I want to add a object and a function to this list on click events. So we're going to click and drag the main menu panel, and we are, let me first, just because there's a little more clarity if I do it this way. We are on the start menu button. I was on the wrong button anyways too. Jeez. So we got the start button here. So we have. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did want the options button. So we have the start button here. We got the options button here, and we want to add to this list the options menu panel right here. On click. Boom. Okay. So on click, we want to call the options menu panel, and since Unity provides us with all the basic game object functions, we're going to set active bool, and it takes a bool parameter just like the string parameter we did, but only it's a bool. It's going to be a check mark. Okay, and if it's checked, it's true. If it's unchecked, it's false. Okay, so we want in the main panel, on the main menu panel, whenever you click the options button, we want to set the options menu panel to active. Okay, and we want to, well, I'll do that in the next step. I was going to set the main menu panel not active, but we'll do it step by step. So we'll test this first. I'll just show this behavior here. Alright, so our options menu panel is deactivated. Hit options. Now it's activated. Okay, nothing else works. I can't go back, but we didn't take those steps yet. So I'm going to go back to my options menu button down here. On click, I'm going to add another event, and this time we're going to take the main menu panel and we're going to drag it down here, and we're going to game object set active bool false. Okay, we're going to test this now. Space Invaders, start, options, boom. So notice the main menu panel is now gone, and I can take care of my options. Alright, let's implement the rest of that. The config button does nothing right now. That was just to kind of not make it look so stale. And we're going to click on this back button, and we're going to add an event. Just like we do with the start button, we want the main menu. We're going to pretty much reverse them. Main menu panel, game object, set active, true. And I want my options menu panel, game object, bool, false. Okay, cool. Save this, and we're going to play. Okay, so I want to click options. Oh, cool. I can configure my controls, blah, blah, blah. And I'm all done configuring. Go back, and the options menu panel disappeared, and the Space Invaders main menu reappeared, and I'm going to start my game. Okay? That is the most fundamental implementation of GUIs. Okay? It's very powerful. You can use these panels to make a card game. You can activate, deactivate as you will, using a combination of what I just showed everyone here. Okay? So, let's go over to the scenes, and we're gonna go to level 1. Okay? And now, I'm gonna zoom in. Okay. So let's say we have this these aliens go by, and we created that GameManager script. So how about we add that first? Oop. Jeez, clicking too many things. I'm gonna create empty GameManager. Put it all the way to the top. So I create these empty prefabs. I would have deleted them, but I forgot they were here. But what these are just empty empty game objects that I set to reset, and I set them to be deactivated, so nothing's running, and then I use them as like labelers. Whenever you guys start getting into much more complicated, larger projects, and you have a mess of players, you have your player object, got all these aliens. You'll see whenever I play, bullets are instantiating, cloning, okay? You can see how your hierarchy here can become quite cluttered. I just use these to as a aid to other designers who come in, and I'm a programmer, so I like to program everything, but my game designers, they help build the larger scenes. So whenever they come in, someone who doesn't know what's in your scene at the current moment, or whenever they're trying to build, like a little tiny village and stuff, it's really nice if they can quickly navigate through your hierarchy by saying, oh, I need to add a system, I'm going to add it under systems, so then whenever I come back in and work on it, I know that any kind of global system that we've implemented between the team is most likely under systems. And I know that the player and the enemies are under actors. And then if I would have a castle model, I'd put it under scene props. It's like, think of it as like a stage play. You have your actors and your props on stage. That's kind of what we're doing here. And then camera, and then general managers, which is more advanced. I'm not going to go over that today. So that's why, and we don't have any scene props. I'm just going to get rid of it. So that's why those are there. I think it's good practice, but for small projects like this, completely unnecessary. All right. So we have our game manager up here, and I'm going to reset that. I'm going to add my game manager here, open it up, and let's make a public int score. Go. All right. And we're going to see that pop up here. Okay, score 0. Okay, so what we're going to do we're going to increment the score every time a alien dies, pretty much. Okay, so alien behavior, let's go on here. I forget where. Oh, that's not there. Bullet behavior, I think, on trigger enter alien. Okay. So let's see if alien. Oops. I'm trying to think of how to do this without making it too complicated here. Bullet behavior. So what we're gonna do here, and I wouldn't, for this case, it's gonna be fine. It's one way of implementing this without getting into singletons, which is a design pattern programming. What we're gonna do is use Unity's very robust find game object method, which searches the entire game scene and finds whatever parameters we give it to them, and we're able to kind of tap into it. So we're going to do a private on trigger enter. If the game object collides with the alien, we're going to destroy it, this game object, and then, we're going to destroy the alien that it collided with, and then destroy this object. So before we destroy this object, we're going to find game object of type GameManager. Okay, and we'll just keep it at right here for now. Right now, this is not gonna execute anything. So in our game manager, we have score. Let's create another public, of course, method. Would increase score. Okay. Take score and cool. Increase score. Easy. Doesn't get any easier than that. Alright. Now, I'm letting it all catch up. Where's my bullet? Give me my bullet. That's my bullet behavior. I'm gonna do, so we're telling you need to find the game object of type GameManager. Dot. Where is it? Increase score. Right here. Boom. Oops. Okay. If you could do game manager GM equals, let's say if you had a lot more logic to implement, you could store this. Oh no, maybe I let. Oh no, that's because let's call it a void. Get rid of that. So this will return that object. Now we could store GM. We could do GM dot increase score. So many ways of doing this. It's disgusting, frankly. But here I'll just comment that out maybe, because that's powerful and useful. For the small games that everyone's going to be creating, this find object of type is a way of avoiding having singletons, because friends don't let friends use singletons. That's what a lot of professional developers say. But they're fine. Just don't get out of control with them. We'll probably cover them further down, closer towards the end of the semester. Okay, so let's go to our game manager. We got that score displaying. Let me see if, see, incremented to 1. It was 0. Now it's going to be 2. 2. There it is. Cool. All right. We'll stop that. So we have the score incrementing, and let's say since we don't have the aliens, well, I'm not gonna implement whenever the alien like collides with player, the game ends. We're gonna keep it very simple. So we're gonna go to this game manager. I'm gonna say public int. I'm gonna make this. No, I'll make it public. Public int score win score. All right, this is gonna be the score that you need to have in order to win. All right. So I'm gonna go in here. Where's our win score? Cool. So how many aliens we got here? We got 6 aliens. So we're gonna do 6. Maybe you want to have an easy mode. Maybe you only need to hit 1 alien and you win. All right. You could do that. Sky's the limit here. You're in control. At least we all like to think so. So we got game manager. We have win score. So now that our win score is going to be at 6, we want something to happen, right? So how about we do a little screen that says you win. So we're going to do UI. We're going to do, we currently don't have a canvas on here. So we first need a canvas. And if we actually take a panel, it gives us a canvas. So Unity says, hey, you don't have a canvas. Let me be nice and make one for you, okay? And since I like a good, clean looking interface, I'm just going to go like this, move it up. Above actors, I'm going to name it UI. We'll do HUD /UI. Alright, for all you people who like UI. Cool. Alright. So I got this canvas. I'm going to put it up here. Cool. What was this? I forget. Alright, panel. We'll call it the win panel. Oops. Yep. Got the win panel here. And just in case, good knowledge, a nice time saver is if you have your mouse cursor and your so right now the UE the GUI stretches. It's much larger than your actual game objects, as you can see here. So it's kind of like annoying to like keep scrolling out and like kind of drag and click and try to get there and find where you're trying to get to. Or you can just click on what you're trying to find in your hierarchy, have your mouse hovering over the scene, and hit F, and it will kind of snap to what you're trying to look at. Okay. Here's my canvas. Here's my win panel. I'm gonna make it like that. Bring it in. Go. Going to fix up these anchors, just because it's very good practice to do this. If you forget to do it, you'll end up having a bunch of UI elements, and none of them are not going to properly fit to your screen. You'll spend like a day anchoring all your UI elements, and it stinks. So, alright, win panel. We're going to add a title saying that I won. You win. Go to this, center, increase the size, give me a little more space to work with. Okay, and just go with that. Actually, I'm gonna take it back down center, and we're gonna use our anchor prefabs. Bam, you win. Cool. And we're gonna keep it. No, we're not gonna keep it gray because it just looks lame. And we're not gonna make it transparent. So you win. And we have like, I don't know, like, I guess like, whoa, it's disgustingly yellow. It's fine. And we're going to add UI button. And this button's going to be the we'll say replay button. And we want to go back into our game manager because we need to execute a little logic here. So this chain scene now, see how this chain scene, and we hard coded that. If we'd have to keep creating methods to handle like what change scene, retry current scene. It's a lot of stuff that's just completely not necessary. So that's why I made that. That's why I made that overload method. So on click, I'm gonna gotta add the list first. Click, go into GameManager, and GameManager change scene. This retry is gonna be level 1. Go. Oh, I'm gonna change this text to a replay. And do another button. And this is going to be the back. We'll just call it title button for now. This is back to title. Oh, just name main menu. Boom. Okay. Alright. So we got a canvas, got a win panel. Oh, we got 2 overlapping buttons. That's not cool. And just move that down a little bit here. Go. And let's watch this play. Alright, we have this menu over here, and no one's even won, but it's displaying, so obviously we want to deactivate it. You don't want to deactivate the whole canvas. Wouldn't be good. We want it to stay alive, and it's still alive. Canvas parent, there it is, win panel. Okay, deactivated, and we're going to go back to our game manager. Okay, and we'll say, we'll do, oops, void update, if win score is greater than 5, we'll do greater than or equal to 6. We're going to do, we're going to, I'm getting ahead of myself. Just going to comment that little logic out there. Alright, so we have this, got this win panel. Sorry, Unity's catching up. Got this win panel. So what we want to do is, whenever we kill 6 aliens, we want the win panel to pop up, right? So we're going to go into this game manager, and we are going to say, oops, we want to store that panel here now, okay? So we can do public panel. Actually, we could just do a game object. Ideally, we'd find the exact type of the panel, but I forget it offhand. Win panel. Okay. Cool. Save. And we're going to. Oh, was that public? Pretty sure it was. Let me check. So we're going to call it an event. Yep. It's El Presidente hollering at me, following up with the due diligence. Win panel. Thank you, Patrick. Win panel. And we're going to go here. Cool. So now this game manager has a reference to this win panel. Okay. And go back here. If score is greater than or equal to 6, win panel dot, let's set, I think it's set active. Remember when we called that through the function, took parameter bool value, win panel true. Bam. And we want to time dot, I think there's a scale. Time scale is equal to 0. So that will completely pause the game. Okay, because we don't want we don't want if we make an easy level and win score is greater than 2. Oh, I'm sorry, win score. Let's be good programmers here. If win score is set to like 2 or something. Wait a minute. Oh, jeez, that was stupid. No, we're good. Win score. Yeah, we want to. It's so if it's like if the win score is I don't know, like 2 or something. Aliens will still be alive and moving around and attacking, and the player will still be able to move, and that doesn't look looks very unpolished in your game. So we want to try to get as much polish as possible. All right, let's see. Oh wait, let me go back here. If score, yeah, I knew something. I was like, wait a minute, that's not score, and then copy win score. There we go. Jeez. Alright, so we can set all of our, we can set the win score to 2, 6, whatever we want here now. Okay? and our win panel is closed. And for debug purposes, this is why you kind of do stuff like this, because whenever you're debugging your game, I don't want to have to kill all 6 aliens every single time. Maybe I just want to kill one, just to see if the functionality is there. Alright, let's see. We got boom. I win. And notice these little guys paused. They're paused, alright? And we can replay. Oh. And you'll notice that on replay, actually let me test that one more time. I think the time scale was still frozen. I want to replay. Yeah, time scale is still frozen. So we'll do GameManager. Where is that? Oh, GameManager. So timescale, we'll be real sloppy about this and just make timescale 1 while we're in just the general play state. Make sure, yep, not saved. Go. Replay. And we're moving again. Oh, missed. Bam. Frozen, it's cool, good and frozen. Replay, back, and it's good. Alright, let's go back to, I don't think I implemented the title button. On click, we'll take this game manager, go right there, and game manager, change scene with a parameter, and what was the title menu? Cool. Cool, it's paused, can replay it. Now I want to go back to main menu. Click, check that out. Title menu cannot be loaded because it has not been added to the build settings or asset bundle has not been added to the scene, blah blah blah. So I told everyone that I would touch on this, and now is the time to do so. We're gonna go under File, Build Settings, drag this on over here. So deleted scene from earlier. So we have level 1. That's why we're able to transition from title scene to level 1, because level 1 is already in the build load index. Is that what it's called? Yeah. Build settings. It's the build load index. And I say build load index because it has this little number over here. Okay. And remember, if I was when I was going over right here is it? Oh, the scene manager. It had a couple overloads for ints that would take the index. I can. So there's 3 overloads. I can give it 0, and it's fine with taking that because level 1 is 0. Now I can, let's go back to, I'm gonna say that, we're gonna go to scenes, title menu, gonna go to file, build settings, add open scenes. You can do that. You can also just click and drag scenes into. See, nice. You can also shift them around, change their index. So it'd be kind of annoying if your start scene or your boot scene or your title menu scene is 1 and then the first level is 0. It's ridiculous. So we just move it up, and now we have 0 as the title menu 0. So if you really want to, or you have like so many scenes, but you just want to go back to the first one, and you know the first one is your boot or title scene menu, you can hard code 0 in. Okay, so level 1. So we have both scenes hard or added to the scene index. I'm gonna exit out of that. I'm gonna go back into my code here. Change scene. rid of that and save that. So let's test the entire loop now. Entire game life cycle loop. Uh-oh. What's going on? So me being sloppy has led to a null pointer error. So this game manager here, it wants a game object. So we can add a panel here. Actually, I know how we can fix that in a nice way and have a prefab out of the deal. So we got this win panel and go to prefabs. I'm going to click and drag that win panel over here. And I'm going to delete that canvas. I'm going to go back to my title menu scene. And we're going to change this main menu canvas to just main canvas now. And I'm going to go in my prefabs, add my win panel, okay? And now I am going to have this main canvas go over here. Delete that. Clean everything up. Delete that, because don't need that anymore. Cool, so now I have one canvas to rule them all. Alright, and I have my subsequent panels, okay? So, I also, well, I foresee an issue here. Oh, whoops, jeez. Gotta add my GameManager, do a, where is, oh, options, main options, and win panel is right there. Save. Cool. And I'm going to save this little GameManager as a prefab also. Okay, so I saved this as a prefab because without getting too much into it, all that GUI event kind of connecting that we did earlier, it doesn't survive scene loads. So you need to have it saved within the prefab. And there are ways around that. You can call the onClick method and give it an implementation, and that's how you kind of get past it, but that's much more advanced, and we will not be covering that in this series, this little tutorial series. So I think we're all good. Alright, whoa, look at that. I forgot to deactivate that panel. Go up to GameManager, win score. Look, win score is 0 and score is 0, so we're gonna make one 1. Hilarious. Okay, Space Invaders. Alright, we got the options, we're going back, it's all good, we're starting a game. Going like this, and whoa. Look at that. Like I said, this isn't the prefab over here, okay? And I'm going through this because these are kind of things that I got tripped up on with this system. So we're going to stop that. And we're going to go back to level 1. We'll save that. That's cool. And level 1, okay. Here's the game manager. Alright, see the, we don't have that connection or anything. So let's get rid of that. And we'll make prefabs, game manager, main system, cool. And now, so we have, see the game manager in this prefab over here. It doesn't save the connection between two separate objects. Okay. So instead of programming it, we're just gonna do a sloppy little implementation of this one, and we're going to put in the main canvas here, and we're going to add the connection here, and we're going to save here. Now we're going to go, we'll test this, make sure it runs, it's all good. Up, Space Invaders is alive. So in here, going to deactivate that. Okay, and we're going to go back to the title menu. Save that. Canvas, main menu, GameManager, panel. Good. Oops. Play. Go. Nothing's showing up that shouldn't be. Boom. Up. It stopped. And so it froze. It implemented our logic, but it didn't activate our Win panel because we didn't tell it to. I thought we did. Let's see here. Game management, Win panel. Win panel here. So we got here. You can see by creating monolithic scripts, you get into annoying behaviors. Win panel. There's the Win panel. Set active. Let's go to scenes. And I don't even think I want this to be make another single instance. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep that. And I'm gonna go back to scenes level 1. Okay, game manager. Oh. Because this isn't set up. Need screen, Win panel. 0. Okay. Let's make sure this scene works. Okay, cool. Go. Oh, I didn't implement that. So in the Win panel, go to title button, game object main manager, game manager, change scene to title menu. There we go. So each, as you can see, each scene is a clean slate. The settings that you have in a prefab, I almost went back and just then got rid of this prefab, but for now it's fine as a prefab right now. But you can see how prefabs don't even survive their connections over scene transition. Now, if this game manager was in main menu canvas and everything was a child of main menu canvas, and I saved that as a prefab, and I made all those different connections say on the buttons, they would stay, they would survive. And you can see right here, this main canvas right here, it didn't survive over here. And so whenever on this, in this scene, you have to recreate all those connections. But this main menu panel on this main canvas, right now, since we're not going to use this main panel at all, it's fine. What I would actually do, and what I usually do, is have a canvas for each scene. Therefore, it's a clean slate each scene. That's a good thing to practice. Let's just go into, let's make this, let's have a successful loop here. Alright, let's check. Alright, everything's there. Start button. Scene change. We're gonna Oh yeah, confirm scene change. Options are good. Alright, play it again. Just wanted to make sure all of our references are created. Start. Okay, main menu. And we're back in the title menu. And we're going to start. And we're back. Successful loopage here. Replay. Replay doesn't work because I didn't remake the connection. Yep, see, on click. And we're gonna here. And we're gonna do GameManager. Change scene to level 1 for retry. Whoa, whoops. Check it out. So although I was debugging in this titles menu, I went over to level 1 and I went through and discovered an error in that scene. As soon as I exit from debugging, it's going to send me back to the original scene that I started the debug in. So I need to go over into, and I'm not going to click apply prefab here. I want this to be, I want everything that I did on this scene to be for this scene and this scene only, to avoid the situations that we've been having between scenes with the disconnects of the events. So don't need that. Replay button, and I want GameManager. Change scene level 1, perfect. Save this. Not gonna save that prefab. Don't do it, or you're gonna have to go through and make those connections again. So let's go into main menu. Alright, go menu, back, start, kill, win, replay, reset. Time is frozen, replay, time is unfrozen. Main menu, back to start. There it is, folks. Complete little scene transition with a very crude, very simple game manager. Everything that I just showed you is the bedrock of game implementation in Unity. So I hope you all found this very enjoyable. I do have a much more complex version of this that is a combination of all the knowledge that I've found and sought through professional game engineers. If anyone is interested in looking at that, it's up on my Git repo. Ask Patrick about it if you're really interested, and I will post it on either the Slack channel or I'll find a way to get it to you guys. I started with that at the live session. This is not the live session because I came and it was just like a little too much for the time that we had. I decided to just redo this series in a much more simple, simple way of creating a game manager and scene management. So I hope everyone enjoyed it, and I will see you at the next workshop. Take care.